Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Breifne Earley and you are listening to episode 117 of the show. It is the Sports Roundup and I'm going to be bringing you all that's happening on the playing pitches of the county over the next couple of days. We're going to be talking a lot about Gaelic games today as the quarterfinals of the Connacht Club Championship start this weekend, and we have representation from the county in senior and intermediate at this level. For senior, Glencar Manorhamilton will be taken to the field against Ballintubber at 2 p.m. on Sunday in McHale Park in Castlebar, while Leitrim Gaels fly the flag for Leitrim in the intermediate grade. They play Tulsk of Roscommon in Dr. Hyde Park tomorrow, Saturday, at 2 p.m. There is also the small matter of the Junior B Football Championship final between Fianna St. Callians and Glencar Manorhamilton, which takes place in Hyde Park, Showdowns at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. The county under-16s are in action. They play Roscommon at Orchard Park in Roscommon at 2 p.m. also on Saturday afternoon. All Leitrim eyes will be on the Aviva Stadium on Sunday, where Mohile's Derval of Byrne takes part in the Women's FAI Senior Cup final. That game between Wexford Youths and Derval's side of Peamount takes place at 12:05 p.m. in the Aviva Stadium before the men's match later in the day at 4. Both games live on the television both games live on RTE TV. So if you can't make it to the game, although I would recommend you do, there'll be two cracking games of football between arguably the two best women's and two best men's sides in the country at the moment. The very best of luck to Derval in that. I'm going to be talking to the FAI Development Officer for County Leitrim, Damon Kearney, later in the programme. But first, we're going to go north to Manorhamilton, where I spoke with Shane Ward about his side's chances of progression from this quarter-final on Sunday afternoon. Now on Sunday afternoon in the Connacht Senior Club Championship, Glencar Manorhamilton are representing the county's fortunes, and they play Ballintubber in McHale Park in Castlebar on Sunday afternoon. And I'm joined by the team manager Shane Ward to talk about his side's chances in that particular fixture. Shane, welcome to the programme.
Thanks, Breifne.
What's the mood in the camp ahead of this crunch game?
Mood is good now, yeah. I suppose there was an air of excitement after the county final win for a couple of days, and the group settled back down again to training with a focus on the Connacht Club game. So the mood has been good. Training's been easy, obviously, because the momentum's with us at the minute, and the lads are in good form. Picked up a few niggles along the way the last couple of days, and a few flus and colds and kind of things like that I suppose are natural to happen after something of such high energy. But apart from that, I think we're good to go.
In terms of the actual event on Sunday, a lot of teams in the past maybe have been accused of not taking this competition too seriously because they went into it without any great expectation. How are you treating the competition in terms of what you're looking to get out of it?
Yeah, well, I suppose it was something that I outlined to the boys very much so from the first day we met last 2 years ago. I said that to them, that I would have been surprised at maybe I suppose the energy that the Leitrim teams have put into that competition in years past. I know Allwellan got a win in most recent times, but I did think that Glencar Manor would have a good chance and have obviously a team that and a squad that could contest in it. So it was something that was very much the forefront of my planning over the 2-year plan now.
In terms of the personnel that we take into the field in yellow and blue on Sunday, there's a few lads coming to the end of their career. It might even be their last championship campaign, the likes of Pat Gilmartin, maybe one or two others as well. How big of a game is it for those guys?
I don't think it's any different of a game, really, to be honest with you. I think myself, after some discussion with some of the guys, I think a lot was made of those guys after the county final, and I think that those guys don't think along those lines. If they did, I don't think they'd have succeeded this year to win the county title again. I don't think their age or anything else was a contributing factor to them actually winning the title. I think it was down the hard work, perseverance, and a lot of resilience over the years, and I suppose a shared experience with the younger guys as well. So I don't think they'll look to that game as anything but another game. I know from speaking to the guys, they're very much looking to a number of games and maybe putting a couple of games back to back. So that's very much the focus. As I say, I don't think they'll be looking at it as in something that they're looking at themselves personally. It's all very much about the team and about the group and about trying to win the next game.
I suppose over the last couple of games, whether it was Ballintubber in the final or Melvin Gaels in the semi-final, you would have known those teams very well. How much do you know about Ballintubber? Have you done your homework on them?
I suppose you do your homework as much as you do for any other game. You can go back as far as you want and find out as much history as you want. So I suppose, like everybody else, we've watched them in their county final against Ballintubber in recent weeks, and I suppose we've gathered a wee bit of history on them, and we'll prepare our guys for the opposition. But I suppose my focus in the last 2 weeks is very much on improving on our performance in the county final and seeing was there anything, what we did well, what we didn't do well, and again trying to help the guys to improve for the next day out.
In terms of all of that sort of stuff, how much can you tell us about what you've been working on without giving the game away?
Myself and Kieran have very much a vision for how we'd like the boys to play, and I suppose watching them for many years, we thought there was various things that they could improve on, and we would discuss that with individual players, discuss that with the group on an ongoing basis from week to week and training session to training session. So obviously there was a lot of things I was very pleased with in the county final, but again it was just marked down as another game for us. We would record, I suppose, the performance levels in different sectors and different areas, and we looked at various things that I suppose we would have liked to seen maybe done better on county final day and so on. But again, we looked at it very much as not the county final, but just another game and how our performance was, as I say. And I suppose we looked a lot at our defensive play as a full team. We looked a lot at our attacking play, and we looked at what kind of a balance we got between those two across the game. And I suppose there was different times in the game when we balanced it very well, and times in the game where we let maybe one side down. So I suppose that's the kind of thing we're looking at, and maybe what individual players contributed to that and how they can improve. So that's, I think, what's driving a lot of our momentum, and I think it's driving a lot of the guys, no matter what age they are, is driving them to improve and trying to look at the game from a different perspective in a lot of ways. So I think that's a motivating factor for them all.
Yeah, I remember an article in the Leitrim Observer, now it's a couple of years back, but it was written by Colin Regan, former Leitrim footballer and of course Melvin Gaels player in his day, and he spoke about that mindset that at the start of a year players and coaches and clubs aimed to win a county championship, and that was the be all and end all. Once they got past that, it was seen almost as it's a bonus territory now. Can you go, because I think you're well equipped to go on and do some real serious damage in this competition. Is that the plan? Is there a Connacht Club Championship in a Leitrim club side?
Okay, I don't ever see a reason why not, to be honest with you. I think if you win your county title on merit and you have, I suppose, a vision and your players share that vision with you, I think that anything is possible on any given day, to be honest. I don't care what county you're from. Especially when you get into club level, a lot of clubs, I suppose, vary in experience, but they also have just a group of club players who are trying to represent their club in the best possible way. I think we've approached ourselves or improved ourselves in the last 2 years in a very positive way, and I think we've challenged the guys in a very positive way as well. So I think they can possibly make a mark in Connacht if they want to. I suppose we've left it with them the last 2 weeks whether they want to go on and write another chapter or whether they were satisfied with what they had on the table. So I'm looking forward to seeing what their decision is when we take to the field Sunday.
Have you a full deck to choose from on Sunday?
Yeah, we've been blessed. I suppose we've put a lot of work into that over the year and that, and I suppose the guys have worked very hard on field and off field. Maybe one of our strengths was that we kept the squad fully fit, and it was one of the things the guys mentioned to me. I suppose myself and Kieran, the first time we met 2 years ago, was that they're seen as a strength going forward to have a bit of strength and depth in the squad, and to keep everybody flying fit was really a key factor to competing, and then obviously trying to go on and win a county title. So we worked very hard on that, as I say, on field and off field. So we've been continually blessed with that, and continue to keep our eye on the ball. So we are pleased to say that we have a full deck to pick from, and everyone's looking fit and healthy so far.
Excellent. Well, listen, Shane, the very best luck on Sunday, and we hope we'll be talking to you next week about a victory in the first round of the Connacht Club Championship, and maybe looking forward towards the latter stages.
I hope so, Breifne. I hope so. I hope we'll put our best foot forward on Sunday and see where we land. But I suppose it's interesting that it's a knockout competition. I suppose it is a different, as you mentioned, it is a different opposition, maybe with a different bit of context on the field and so on. So it'll be a fair challenge. It'll be a good mark to see where we're at.
What time is throw-in?
throw-ins 2 o'clock, McHale Park and Castlebar. So again, I suppose we've our homework done on the pitch and locations and all that kind of thing. So the guys seem comfortable with the surroundings and that. So we're looking very much forward to it now. And again, an away based game is also another challenge. So looking forward to see how we react to that.
Excellent. Well, the very best of luck. And if anyone's floating around for the weekend and nothing yet planned for their Sunday, get themselves to McHale Park and wave those yellow and blue flags. Shane, thanks very much for joining us as always.
Thanks, Breifne. Thank you.
Tomorrow afternoon in Dr. Hyde Park sees Leitrim Gaels take to the field in the first ever Connacht Intermediate Club Championship. One of their players, Eunan Treacy, joins me now to talk about their chances in the game. Eunan, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Breifne. Good to be here.
We talk about Leitrim Gaels as intermediate football champions. Has that sunk in yet?
I think it has at the moment, yeah. It has sunk in now. It took a while because even after the game, the few days afterwards, out of the celebrations, it never really sunk in. But now when you're looking forward to Connacht Championships and stuff like that, it has sunk in. And you're thinking of next year already, you're thinking of senior championships. So maybe it definitely has sunk in now, I would say so.
In terms of the last couple of weeks, because I know we spoke to Shane Ward earlier in the programme and they had a little bit of a blowout for a few days and then it was straight back on the training pitch. Has it been the same in Leitrim Gaels?
Yeah, we went back training. So the final was on the Sunday, we went back training on the Friday, ran all the drink out of ourselves and the usual stuff. But no, we've been fairly competitive at training the whole time now, the last few weeks. We've been looking forward to this match now. We're in unknown territory. We're not Manorhamilton. Maybe they have the luxury that there's players who will be experienced with this kind of championship. We played obviously in 2012 when we won the junior championship, but that's a long time ago. So it really is unknown territory for most lads who haven't experienced it at all. So we're going to just go at it hard now. We've trained hard and we're going to give our best foot forward. You
played Tulsk. They'd be a Roscommon side with a strong reputation. What do you know about them? How much homework have you done?
I know very little about them, to be honest with you. Shannon's side listens to the finals. That's about the height of it. You hear different things, but it's very limited, my knowledge on it. Now, I know Mal probably has done his homework on him, as Mal does, but myself personally, I would know very little. I know they have your man O'Rourke midfield of her because he's an intercounty footballer, Tiger O'Rourke, but with the exception of that, I know very little about them.
In terms of, I suppose, this kind of competition, because you're so familiar with the teams you've been playing against up to now, yeah. You know Anna Duff so well, yeah. You know Drumkieran so well, and everyone else you've played in it over the years many, many times. This kind of wider net now, how are you finding that in terms of getting your own head around it?
Well, to be cliched about it, when everyone starts, it's the start of the championship, you say you'll take it one game at a time. But realistically, ourselves at the start of the year, we had set our targets at winning an intermediate title, and your head sometimes can get ahead of it. You can be thinking of when you're in the group stage about quarterfinals and semi-finals. No, it didn't affect us this year. We won it, so it wasn't that it put us off or anything. But this literally is a one-off game. We're not thinking of Connacht titles or anything like that. It's literally just a one-off game where we are going to go in. I think it suits us that there's no pressure on us. There probably has been a lot of pressure this year to win an intermediate title because we were one of the favourites. We got to a semi-final last year, final the year before. Probably felt we left them behind both cases, so there was a lot of pressure on us. So I'd safely say in the quarter-final, the semi-final and the final, it was more relief than enjoyment winning them games. So tomorrow we'll go in, and I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest with you, because there's just no pressure. We're going to go out, test ourselves against, obviously Roscommon is perceived it's a better footballing county than Leitrim, so it's a great test against her, for ourselves against Tulsk.
In terms of that expectation, I suppose you said you came into the championship with the favourites tag, not just outside of the group but also inside the group. You kind of expected to win that final, or at least you had ambitions to win the championship from the start.
Ambitions, yeah, definitely. It'd be more the hurt from the years beforehand, feeling like you've left it behind you, and the belief that you could have, both games, believing that we could have won them. So while that gives you motivation, and it obviously is there's hurt with it, its expectation comes with it as well, because obviously the two teams that bet us weren't in the intermediate championship anymore, so we obviously had to then believe this is maybe, we have to take our chance, especially with the restructuring of the championship. We said, this has to be our year to win it, because it's a very hard championship to win. I know everyone always says the intermediate championship is one of the hardest things to win, because you've always got senior teams dropping down into it, and you'll see in counties all over Ireland there's teams that'll yo-yo up and down from senior to intermediate, so it makes it really hard for any team trying to make the breakout, who've been there for a few years, who can't make the jump and think maybe this is our year. But then another team comes down who is strong again, and that's just always the test. So this year it's relief just to get over the line. Now hopefully we can push on next year. Now I know that's a long time away and shouldn't be thinking like that, but as a club we're thinking of the big picture progression as a club. Winning an intermediate title was brilliant, but I can safely say I never want to win an intermediate title again, sort of thing. While enjoyment at the time,
you never want to have to win one again.
That's the way mentality we have to have.
I want to take you back because the county final day was probably won in the end by a goal from Jack Flynn, youngster. How important have those young lads been coming through? Say the likes of Jack, Stephen Goldrick, Sean Chandler, to name but a few. It's a very under 21 feel to that team. Yeah,
the age profile in our team is actually, if you've seen from the starting team in the county final, I was 30, and down from that I think the next was 26 or 27. You've about 3 or 4 in between 26, 27, 25, and then you go down, you said under 21. I'd say we've got 7 or 8 who started that day who between 19, I think Steve could be 18 to 21, 22. So that's brilliant because it puts, every year it puts new emphasis. A new player comes in and you can change the style of your play and stuff like that. Everybody comes in with different qualities, so it's brilliant. When they come in and brings an extra edge to training when there's fresh blood. When you're looking at the same people over and over again, I'd say as a manager it's hard to try and change things around. But when you have young lads coming through, enthusiastic, and they're committed to football as well, they don't have probably the stuff outside of football that might be affecting their commitment to it. I know myself, like I have a young daughter, so my commitment, while I would say it's 100%, if I was 21, maybe it wasn't when I was 21, I wasn't as committed as I am now, but these lads are 100% committed to football. Maybe that's why they're better than me at that age. No, it's brilliant. It really helps things progress along, and as long as we can keep the team together, because yourself, life comes along and things will always pull you away from it, whether it's work, education, stuff like that. So as long as we can keep the team together, I think there's a good future for us.
There's one other person who's come into the team, which probably feels like getting a new player midway through the season. Another youngster, Donald Casey, has been injured for most of the last year, maybe year and a half. He's now back playing a few games. Will he feature on Saturday? Is he ready for that?
I can't count on it because we played a few challenge matches, and he's going to be, he's a fantastic prospect, very good footballer, but that's Mal's decision if he's involved. So you'd have to ask him that. Now, it wouldn't be my position to comment on another player's playing role.
I want to take you back a little bit before to where you were one of the whippersnappers. And you may have memories of Vera's Field back in the summer of, I think, probably 1998 or 1997, when the club was brand new and you were part of that first underage team. You were probably the youngest player on the team by a country mile. You were probably only 7 or 8 playing under 12 football. In terms of the progression from that, where I could be right in saying you won the first game, but you didn't win a single game all season. I should know I was the manager. I got the sack very firmly after that. But no, there was a really good cohort of players, and some of them are still involved in this team now. Obviously, the underage has moved on from there. The facilities have got better. The number of people involved in teams has got better. What has your path been through the club? Having seen it from a child, probably the youngest kid that year, took part, right up to now, being a former captain of the team and one of the mainstays on the field. Yeah,
well, my actual experience is a bit different to probably a lot of the other lads in the team, because obviously I left Leitrim Gaels and an underage.
Didn't we all?
Yeah, well, mine was forced upon me. I do remember that day. It was actually the first game we played was in Peter Guckin's
field, against
Fianna. Yeah, can't remember the score.
I think we won by a point, but they called it a draw.
Yeah, well, we'd say we won anyway. Then after that, I played a few years, and we were 9-a-side. I remember now we won a few games, and we were competitive. We got to an under-12 final. I think we got to an under-14 final, both 9-a-side. I think we lost both of them, but after I finished under 12, I actually had to move to Ireland Gaels, because I remember Noeline Gagan said we had only 8 players, so she said the option is don't play. You can either go to St Mary's or Ireland Gaels. So I was going to school in Drumshanbo, so I decided to join Ireland Gaels. And obviously I spent my whole underage career with Ireland Gaels, but I've always obviously kept a vested interest in Leitrim Gaels underage. And the thing while they weren't probably winning every year, the thing you'd always keep an eye on is the playing number, what they're playing. It was 13 or 15 aside, and as the years went on, it went from 11 aside to 13 aside, and now they're competing at 15 aside, which just shows obviously A, the population is growing in the village, and B, that the quality has got better and better over the years, that they're competing at a higher level. You can obviously have a load of players, but if the work isn't being put in underage, I know there's fantastic coaches who put years of work in, and to see, as has been involved the last 10 years with the senior team, every year I'd safely say that one player has at least, or two players have came through, so that just shows that underage, the work has been fantastic. Like, if you were to look at surrounding clubs, I know I speak to a lot of lads that say it's hard to get, they say, we have 4 who are adult age next year, but then they say we don't know if they're that interested in playing football. Like, it's a big difference in saying, we have 4 coming through, and we have actually 2 lads who are mad to get involved in football, because, as I said to you earlier on, that when you get to 18, 19, football can
get distracted.
Yeah, football can be a bit of a hindrance, and now the way it is, you have to give 100% commitment. There's no acting up the night before, or at the weekends and stuff. It has to be your whole life. That's why I'm saying with the young lads, it's a testament what the coaches did with the underage to bring ourselves through. As you said, when we were there at the start, there was about 20 lads, but every lad, I can think of Paul Regan, Brian, they're about the only 2 lads I can still say is still involved, so it dwindles through. But I'd say if lads who are like the Stephen Goldick, Stephen McDermott generation, Sean Chandler, their underage team from probably under 12 is still all there. So it just shows, it's a testament to what has been done with the club.
Yeah, that group out, the 7 or 8 of them in that squad now.
They're all, like, they won, I think, a minor title or something a few years ago, and I'd safely say there's a good core of them still playing football. So it really is, it's a testament to them as well, that their commitment is to the club.
And of course the volunteers, that minor title you spoke about, manager was, I think it was Mal Gutkian, who's now the Supremo with the first team. Bringing it back to tomorrow, what's the expectation going into the game?
The expectation within ourselves, obviously we're going to be competitive. To say we're going to win is silly, because you don't know whatever's going to happen in a match. We believe we can win, obviously. You don't go into any match thinking you're going to lose. When you don't know the opponent you're playing, you're going into the unknown. So the first few minutes, you get a feel for it, and you'll be able to say, you get confidence out of that. But the perception outside, going by bookies, we're outsiders. So I can only say, what do you think? If you were looking from the outside, do you give us a chance?
Well, listen, anyone has a chance. Do you know what I mean? It's a 2-horse race at the end of the day. Yeah. The very best of luck to you tomorrow. I know there'll be a massive crowd in the Hyde supporting the Leitrim Intermediate Champions, Leitrim Gaels. The whole village will be there. So the very best of luck, and hopefully we will be back talking about a semi-final in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully, Breifne.
The FAI Senior Cup Finals take place on Sunday, and there is a strong Leitrim interest in the day. I'm joined by the FAI Development Officer for County Leitrim, Damon Carney. Damon, welcome to the programme.
Thanks very much for having me, Breifne.
No problem, a pleasure as always. Damon, it's got to be one of the best weekends of the year for soccer in terms of it being a centrepiece. We all know that the Electricity League doesn't get massive numbers in the same way as, say, some of the big Gaelic games through the year. But for the Cup final, everybody seems to come out, and they're expecting 35,000 people there on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real showcase of Irish football, and again, it's a great occasion, and it recognises not just the male player, but the female players in terms of getting to play in the National Stadium in front of, as you say, hopefully a big crowd, and hopefully they might break the record that was previously set when Shamrock Rovers faced Sligo Rovers in the first year that Aviva Stadium was reopened, and that as well. So it always is a special occasion. Cup finals capture people's imagination, and especially with the lineup this year for the men's final, Dundalk, Shamrock Rovers, no doubt top 2 teams in the men's game here in Ireland, and should be a great spectacle. But also the former league champions in Wexford Youth, and the ladies are taking on the newly crowned champions. So again, it has all the makings for a fantastic day. Hopefully 2 very good games where people get to showcase their ability to a wider audience than you say as normal, where the League of Ireland probably and the Women's National League wouldn't get the same coverage or numbers, getting to see them on a weekly basis.
It's great as well from a Leitrim point of view. It wouldn't be a hotbed of soccer activity around here, but we have 2 strands of interest in the game on Sunday, and specifically the women's game. Dervala Byrne will be playing with Peamount for their, I suppose they are the league champions, and they're looking to make a double out of this season, while Emma Cleary of Manorhamilton will be officiating as the 4th official in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, Derby's had a fantastic season with their club female. They've won the league, breaking, I suppose, the monopoly of Wexford youth for the last number of years. Have been champions. So females have had a great season. There's been a close run in. They went to the last day of the season against Shelburne in terms of them picking up the league title. And now they're into a cup final. So for Derby herself, she's been there before. She played in the Aviva Stadium before. So it's another great occasion. And again, a chance for her to do the double, which is a fantastic season for her on all accounts. And then obviously Emma Cleary is the other side of the game in terms of the officiating and that as well. So again, it's great recognition for her.
In terms of the interest from Leitrim, 2 could have been 4 so easily, with Alva Clancy and our Galway women's side been beaten in the semi-final, and Niall Morahan and his Sligo Rovers team also fallen at the semi-final hurdle. How big is soccer in the county since you came on board a decade ago? What has the growth been like?
Listen, I suppose the big thing is there's always an interest in terms of particularly young people playing the game, and the interest is always there. You just need to go and see around the county, schoolyards, at lunchtime, break time, there's always games of football being played. The biggest challenge, I suppose, is for there's only 3 soccer clubs, Manorhamilton Rangers, Carrytown and Abbey Rover. But I suppose one of the biggest challenges is a huge number of players interested in playing the game. The club structures have really grown in the last few years. Carrytown have a senior team back up and running their underage structure, have a huge number taking part in that. Manorhamilton Rangers always been a very strong football club for the north of Leitrim. So the demand is growing all the time in terms of young kids wanting to get involved in the game. But I suppose the biggest challenge for some clubs is to actually get people on board to come in and assist, whether it's coaches, whether it's committee members, and that sort of can sometimes stunt the growth, and something that needs to be, I suppose, developed over the years to try and meet the demand that is coming through in terms of young people wanting to play the game.
Looking down through the list of the nominees for this year's Leitrim Sports Star Awards, it's interesting to see, the first time I can remember anyway, a senior nominee, Niall Morahan in soccer, and Myrne Devaney, who seems to be a perennial fixture in the underage ranks in this event. She's also nominated again with her debut season with Sligo Rovers. So it's great to see soccer featuring more in the landscape here in the county.
Absolutely. Again, both players. Niall's had a fantastic season, probably first full season as a professional player with Sligo Rovers. Has got a good bit of game time over the course of the season and done very well when we're called upon. Obviously, you just mentioned there, just to reach the semi-final of the FAI Cup, only to lose out to Dundalk. And then Myrne's first season in the National League for the under-17s, Women's National League. So always, 2 of them have always had very good upbringing coming through the underage ranks, and they've done well for their clubs and representative side with Sligo Leitrim League, and now they're taking the next step in terms of going on to the National League. Niall would have played underage 17s and 19s, and now it's broken into the first team, and now Myrne's going through the pathway for the women's side of it with the under 17s. But that's been a huge positive, I suppose, over the last number of years, is the growth of the underage National League, both for male and female players, because again there is a number of players through different clubs locally. There's in Sligo Rovers along for town that have a Leitrim background, and opportunities for them to go and play at the highest level at the different age groups. And again, hopefully in the years to come, it won't be just Niall and Myrne or Derby. There'll be more following through that go through the pathway and hopefully get an opportunity to play at the highest level, whether it's League of Ireland or the Women's National League.
Absolutely. I suppose from a personal point of view, it's a bit disappointing not to see Dervla's name in that list of nominees for the Senior Individual of the Year, because she has had a phenomenal season, which I hope continues for her on Sunday afternoon. That game at 12:05 in the Aviva Stadium. Do go along if you get the opportunity. Tickets are €15 and it's a great day out. The senior game, as Damon mentioned, will be phenomenal as well. It is live on RTE, so if you can't get to Dublin, do check it out on the television on Sunday afternoon. Damon, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always.
No problem, Breifne, anytime.
Tomorrow afternoon in Hamilton Park in Sligo at 2:30, Sligo take on Dungannon in Division 2B of the All-Ireland Rugby League. Making his first appearance from the start in that game is Leitrim Village's Matthew Earley. He joins me now. Matthew, congratulations. It's a big day for you. You must be excited.
Yeah, excited to get my first start at Sligo. I've come off the bench a good few times now in the last few weeks and the end of last season, so I'm looking forward to making my first start.
In terms of Dungannon, how much do you know about them and how Ulster rugby is shaping up?
I went to the away fixture last year against Dungannon and we beat them dramatically there in the last few minutes, and they're a good team. They're a good, strong, physical team, so it will be another battle now tomorrow.
You're quite young. You're still only 18 years of age to be playing adult rugby. Is there any concern in your head about that at all, or are you just raring to go and excited at the challenge?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I can't wait to go now tomorrow, wait and get out that pitch and hopefully make a difference.
Obviously, you would have played most of your underage rugby with Carrick Rugby Club. You moved to Sligo when that team folded 2 seasons ago. How has that move helped you progress to where you're now playing starting in your first AIL game?
Yeah, so Sligo would be a higher standard. They'd be playing All-Ireland rugby, and Carrick would be still in Division 3, the junior rugby. So it's a much higher quality of rugby with this first senior team. So I'm just delighted to be involved.
And of course, you would have played through school as well with Sligo Grammar School. The school has had a huge impact, though, in your development.
Yeah, look at the rugby facilities there, right beside where I sleep every night. So no wonder that's where I was most of the week, out in the rugby pitch playing rugby when I had any spare time. And I was more of a Gaelic man before I went to the school. So that's really the main reason why I've been playing rugby.
Of course, your Gaelic side also in action at 2 o'clock tomorrow. You have to choose between Leitrim Gaels and Sligo Rugby Club, but is it really a tough decision for you?
Yeah, look, I'd love to be there with Leitrim Gaels tomorrow, supporting the lads, but priority at the moment is rugby, so that's just the way it is.
Well, listen, I know you're in the middle of a tough college schedule at the moment, so I'm going to let you get back to class and the very, very best of luck this weekend. We might catch up with you and see how you got on your starting debut for Sligo Rugby in the AIL.
Thanks very much. 2
other games in rugby of note this weekend. In the Connacht Junior Leagues, Sligo are away to Monivea at 2:30 in Division 1A, while in Division 1C, Carrick and Shannon are at home to a previously undefeated Tuam side. That game at 10:30 on Sunday morning in Carrick on Shannon. And that, folks, is all we have time for today. Thank you so much to Shane Ward, Damon Carney, Eunan Treacy and Matthew Earley for joining me today to talk about their weekend and how much they're looking forward to the various games that they're planning on attending over the next few days. The very best of luck to all of those guys in their games, and also to Dervla Byrne and Emma Cleary in their participation in the women's final in the Aviva on Sunday afternoon. That's all from me. I'll be back tomorrow with a current affair, while the Sports Roundup show will be on the podcast on Monday. Talk to you then.